Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and I just got another issue of the LEGO Ninjago Magazine. I know I'm late to this again, I feel like I've been late to the last, 6, but you know what, we're here, we're finally doing it now. Anyway, this month's issue comes with a Spectral Tyr minifigure, which is kinda cool to get. It's one of the Spectral Dragonians, and of course, they're all very similar, but very cool. This is the one, special one that comes with, the white upper helmet piece, so that's kinda neat to get. However, we did get the regular Spectral Dragonian a few issues ago, and this guy's literally only one part different from that one, so it's not, the most interesting thing in the world. I do appreciate getting it here, though. Anyway, of course, we'll take a closer look at the minifigure later in this video. For right now, let me just remove it from the cover of the magazine, and now we can take a look at that. It says, cool LEGO toy, leader Tyr with Spectral Lands. Mystical Dragon Skull, LEGO toy, Tyr, leader of the Dragonian Warriors. They're advertising Ninjago 15 here, the coolest Ninjago sets ever. Looks like they're going to be going back through Ninjago's history, because we have Firstborn here as well as the Source Dragon Emotion, which is now retired, I believe. Then, as always, we have a 12-page comic, some epic posters, and drama in the Spectral Lands for Lloyd and the Ninja, which I assume probably ties into the comic as well? I'm not sure. Let's get this opened up and see what it has in store. On the left right here, we have an advertisement for the LEGO Batman magazine, in my opinion, one of their worst magazines, because you get these vehicles without minifigures all the time, and I think that's really underwhelming. But then, of course, we also have the table of contents with the villain of the month, except it's not the villain of the month this time, it's the villain of the century. And I don't know who it was originally supposed to be, but now it's Garmadon instead. They have this whole thing written out, I think about Thunderfang, it says Spectral Dragonians, it says Thunderfang, but you can't even read it, because Garmadon's speech bubbles over top of it. He's taking over the magazine. That's really funny. But yeah, Garmadon is saying, you've been choosing the villain of the month for a year and I haven't even been nominated once? How dare you? Just because I'm not actively being a villain right now doesn't mean you can just ignore me. No villain is as legendary as me, Lord Garmadon. Absolutely none. That's very silly. We've got the Meanometer to color in how mean you think he is, and it's already filled in to show that he is an arch-villain. And then here's the building prompt. A grim anniversary. LEGO Ninjago is turning 15 this year. And who has been making life difficult for the ninja since the beginning? That's right, Garmadon. This villainous achievement needs to be celebrated. Build a truly evil villain's throne for the villain of the century. That's very fun. Anyway, let's turn to the next page where we can see the bio page on the minifigure. And okay, this is structured a little bit different, I guess because there's no facts about this guy in the show because he doesn't exist in the show. I don't believe this character's even canon. So we've of course got Spectral Tyr right here. It says leader of the Dragonians. Sure, Thunderfang is the head honcho of the Spectral Dragonians, but the real leader of the tribe is and always will be the wisest, most powerful, and as of recently, most terrifying of them all, Tyr. They're pointing out his unique dragon skull and his huge spectral lance. #1 soul sucker. No Spectral Dragonian has transformed more people into hollowed ones than Tyr. Join him on his hunt to find all the souls floating around the magazine. And then you can plug in how many souls you found here. It's interesting, they're using the graphic from the back of Wildfire's torso, but with a little sad face, to be the souls instead of the fire spirit that's on her. Crown for villains. Tyr differs from her subordinate Spectral Dragonians in that he has a white dragon skull, an ancient and powerful relic that gives him the power to either ward off elemental power, be faster than a jet, or see into the future. And of course, there is no canon answer because this guy does not exist in the show, so it just says tick a box to indicate which power your toy should have, or think up your own. They're really grasping for straws with this one. But yeah, if you guys didn't realize this because the show didn't make it super clear, the Spectral Dragonians are actually not meant to be the same Dragonians from Season 3, Part 1. They're meant to be all the Dragonians that have died. So they died during Part 1, then they became Spectral Dragonians, but we saw that Tyr survived, so Tyr never became Spectral. So yeah, this guy was just made up for the sets. We have the instructions to build the figure here, and then we have On the Prowl. Tyr is roaming the merged realms in search of prey. Where will he find the most victims? Count the people in the cutouts and guide him to the biggest haul. Note, ninja souls count double. They're Thunderfang's favorite. Alright, and I think that's all for Tyr, so let's turn to the next page, and here we have Help is Coming. And this is a series of different games for Jay to find the other ninja. We've got a Sudoku puzzle here that uses the Source Dragon symbols. That sounds really annoying to draw those in. There's a maze. This is a little addition puzzle. This is also a maze, but it's one of those pattern finding mazes where you have to follow this pattern to get from start to end. And it's the same game right here, but for Neo. We got one for Kai and one for Nia. Turning to the page after that, we have How to Escape from Villains. And you have to figure out which of these paths gets Zane home while hitting the least Spectral Dragonians. Then this next page right here, we have Ryu Rising. What was once a tiny dragon has grown into a true hero. However, Ryu is yet to reach his full potential. What do you think he will look like when he's fully grown? Grab your pencil and draw Ryu as an epic dragon boss. Check out Wildfire's list for inspiration. And she's saying you can give him sharp claws, a long neck, big wings, armored tail, or scary eyes. And it's funny, they have a Ryu head right here, but it's up to you to draw the rest of the body. This is very silly, but I kind of like this idea, and honestly, whatever you draw will probably turn out better than the official set, because this head already looks better than he looks in the set. Then after that, we should be at the comic. comic. As always with the comics, I'm not going to read the entire thing to you guys, but feel free to pause the video and read it for yourself, and if I notice anything especially funny or interesting, I will stop and point it out. This month's comic is called Repairs at Risk, and we've got Lloyd and Arin here. Lloyd's in the mech jet, Arin's in his mech, and it looks like they're in the Spectral Lands with these creatures. So let's see what's up with this. Okay, so this takes place before the end of Season 3. We're still not out of Season 3. As Lloyd and Arin are on their way to awaken the Archdragon of Focus, they fly over the Spectral Lands. And yeah, the Soulsuckers are here, but they're not invisible for some reason. And they're like, oh, I guess they can make themselves visible when they want. But yeah, that's not something that ever happened in the show. They were always invisible in the show. But then a bunch of characters appear and they have to like jump out of the way and then they fall off. But yeah, we have quite the cast of characters here. Curious to see who these guys are. We do have a Pyro Whipper in the group, which makes me very happy to see, my goat. I actually don't know the last time we saw one of these guys in the magazine. Turning the page. Okay, so apparently these characters appeared in the Spectral Lands because they died, and the Spectral Lands is where you go when you die. That does feel very weird to me that they just sort of spawn in here. They were mechanics working on a machine and it exploded and they all just spawned in here at once. I get that's like the lore of the Spectral Lands, right? Like Morrow guides the souls on their way to the afterlife. But the idea that like Lloyd and Arin could just run into dead people here who had just died, I don't know, it feels a little bit silly that they could interact right there. But whatever, I guess it's a fun concept at least, and yeah, I'm very happy to see Pyro Whipper here. Mechanic Pyro Whipper. Love that guy. Let's turn the page and see what happens next. Okay, and the mechanics are working on the mechs. They find some prismatic steel in the mechs that Lloyd and Arin can use to look at the Soulsuckers. But uh-oh, the Soulsuckers are breaking in. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like these characters should be ghosts. I think it's a very silly idea that they die and they can, like, interact with these mechs physically. But sure, I guess that works. Anyway, now we are at the break in the comic where we have Home Alone. Gio and Mr. Frohickey are alone in the monastery of Spinjitzu when Roz turns up to plunder it. Help them get the most valuable relics to safety. Search the word grid on the left for the terms that begin with the letters in the white boxes and circle them in the jumble on the right. Okay, and we literally just have a word search here. Then here in the center of the magazine we have the posters. And oof, I had a pretty bad tear getting that thing out of the magazine. But anyway, one side of the poster is this big picture of Frack. It says, Frack's big breakthrough. He's holding the accessory that he had in last month's magazine, right? And then it says Ninjago Dragons Rising at the top. Frack is my favorite new Dragons Rising character, so it makes me very happy to see him here. And get like a whole poster dedicated to him, and I think it looks pretty cool. Big breakthrough maybe sounds a little bit silly, but I think it's fine for a poster like this. Interesting render that they used for Frack, because it's like halfway between his show appearance and his set appearance, because obviously he doesn't have the ninja hood and ninja mask up here. So this is like an idea of what his minifigure could look like if he didn't have that molded hood. However, it's definitely not what the minifigure would actually look like, because this is clearly based off his show model. The nostrils are too detailed, the teeth are too detailed, and the neck is too detailed. So if they ever made an unhooded Frack, this is not what it would look like exactly. But you could see like they removed his pupils to make it look more like the minifigure. So yeah, it's like this weird in-between the set version and the show version. Not sure why they're doing that. I guess they wanted to have an unhooded Frack that didn't feel too far off from the minifigure, but it's definitely still far enough off that I could say, yeah, this is not what like the official unhooded Frack minifigure is going to look like if we ever actually get that, because I don't think that head could exist physically. This is a solid poster though, and maybe I'm just biased because it's Frack, but I do like getting it here. Ooh, and this is really cool. On the opposite side of the poster, we have a Ninjago 15 poster, and it's showing Jay and Kai in their summer 2025 outfits. We have the rogue suit and the spectral suit for Kai, but then like faded into the background, we have the original 2011 and 2012 spinner art for their first few suits. Their original suit, their ZX suit, and their NRG suit. That's really cool to see, like, their history and where they are now. I think I would have preferred the new Dragon Form suits as opposed to the Spectral suits, because technically these are year 14, not year 15. And it's a little strange to only go back to 2011, 2012 and not do, like, a full history. But I think it's kind of cool, showing where they came from and where they are now. I actually like this one a lot. I wonder if we're going to get more posters like this for the other characters, specifically Cole and Zane, since those two also have this art. Anyway, back to the magazine, we have Spot the Blind Spot. You have to figure out which of these silhouettes is correctly a Spectral Dragonian. Then we have Hollowed Clones, where we have this Hollowed Lee, who has a very funny expression on his face, and then a bunch of clones of him, and you have to figure out all the differences between these clones and the original. Turning the page, we are back to the comic. Ooh, I like the colors on this page. That looks very cool. This page is just Arin and Lloyd fighting the Soulsuckers. Don't really have much to say here other than, yeah, I like the colors. Then after that, okay, and they successfully, like, trip it and knock it out, but then they try to, like, kill it and kicks them out of the way, so they need prismatic steel to kill it. And then on the final page here, okay, and they get a prismatic steel boomerang. Arin uses object spinjitzu to destroy all the Soulsuckers, and then they drop all the mechanics off at the Afterlife Tours meeting point. Sure, I guess. I don't know. This comic was very much silly to me. Definitely some really good illustrations and some cool action. But yeah, in terms of story, I mean, there was not much happening at all. I don't love this implication of the afterlife, and like the fact that the souls who have just passed can move around and like do mechanic work, and Lloyd and Arin can like pick them up in the mech and the jet. I guess like Thunderfang technically died and sort of did something like this, but Thunderfang's a super powerful dragon who also had a ton of other souls like helping him. Same thing with the Forbidden Five, right? They were powered by Thunderfang. They weren't just regular souls. And even the Forbidden Five had like lost all their personality when they died. They were just husks of themselves. So I feel like the way these characters are depicted makes death feel a lot less impactful. I don't know, it's a silly idea for a comic. It's not the end of the world. Far from my favorite though we've gotten in these magazines. After that, we have Chaos Unleashed. And is this Battleship? Yes, this is Ninjago Battleship, which I love. I was a huge Battleship fan as a kid. I'd always want my parents and friends to play it with me, and when they wouldn't play it with me, I would play it by myself. I would play Battleship by myself, which may not make much sense, and it didn't, but I would try. So if I had Ninjago Battleship, I would have been so incredibly hype about that. So yeah, I think this is really cool. They instruct you to build a screen to put in the center of everything, and on the good guy side, you have Sora's little bike, Arin's mech, Lloyd's mech, and the Archdragon to focus, and on the bad guy side, you have the Spectral Dragonian bike, the Spectral Dragonian Flyer, the little Bone Dragon, and then Thunderfang. Weird that these two aren't even in the amount of squares that they have. The ninja side goes 1, 2, 3, 4, but the bad guy side is 1, 2, 3, 3. I wonder if that was a misprint and Thunderfang was supposed to have 4, because I assume he would? Very weird. But yeah, Ninjago Battleship's awesome. Happy this is here. After that, we have Gigantic Years. Oh, okay, so this is like the Ninjago 15 history thing that they're doing. And they're showing off a bunch of the different dragons over time. So we have 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2 from 2020 for some reason, 2022, 2024, 2025, and 2026. It would have been really cool if they'd done 1 from every single year, but it looks like they're trying to have a balance of a good guy and bad guy, because there's a ninja symbol if it's for the ninja, the Skulkin symbol if it's for the villains, and then there's like this star symbol if it's just a character sort of outside the good guys or the bad guys. I guess including Jay's dragon, because Jay's a bit neutral that season. Oh yeah, it says it right here, Ninja Villain Neutral. But yeah, this is really cool. I like to see them doing this historical stuff. It would have been neat if they actually showed 1 from every year, though, because I think every year has had at least 1 dragon. Because 2011's missing, you definitely had them then. Oh, this is actually incorrectly labeled. This should be 2014. That's when this came out. I was thinking Season 3, but no, this was Season 3 in 2014. But 2013 did have the Golden Dragon. 2016 had the Skybound J Dragon and the Lloyd Energy Dragon. 2019, I think, only had the Legacy Ultra Dragon. Did we get any with Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu? I don't think so. Oh, we had Boreal. Yeah, we had Boreal and the Legacy version of this in 2019 that they could have showed. 2021 had the Water Dragon. That would have been cool to include on here. And then 2023 was the start of Dragon's Rising, so there was tons you could have put on here for that. But yeah, regardless, cool to see this at all. Turning to the next page, we have Lights Out, Party Over. And here you have silhouettes of some dragons that are combinations of dragons from the previous page, and you have to figure out which dragons they are. And then you have to figure out which of the dragons is not here that Rapton stole, and they're encouraging you to build a team of mechs to stop Rapton. Then there's a LEGO City ad. We have 2 ads in this magazine. That feels like a lot. And then finally at the very end, we have an advertisement for next month's magazine, and that's going to come with a Kerr minifigure, which is so exciting. Kerr is, of course, one of the Forbidden Five, but she only comes in 1 set, Lloyd's Jet Mech, which is pretty expensive. And even if you have that set like I do, I want a second of this minifigure because this minifigure is amazing. So thanks to the magazine, I'm going to be able to get that. She still has her arm printing and everything. So looking forward to that one. That one's going to be awesome. And then we have some great door hangers here, which these are always funny whenever they do these. Come in and learn from the master of what would your elemental power be? Celebrating 15 years of villainy. Entry denied. Only A-list villains. Come on, man. Don't put the Overlord there with A-list villains. He's like F tier. And then on the opposite side of these, we have come in to celebrate with cake. Keep out. Ninja Master. Write your name here. In training. Yeah, I think that's about going to do it for the magazine. I'll give you my overall thoughts on it at the end of the video. But for now, let's take a look at the minifigure that it comes with. So here is Spectral Tyr fully put together, and before we talk about the minifigure, I of course want to talk about the accessory. It's like this lance weapon that has the spectral tentacle piece at the top and an axe head at the front, and I think this is pretty fun. The magazines often come with really unique weapon builds, and this is far from the most unique I've seen. This feels like the kind of thing that could be in a set, but it's also interesting enough. I like getting the axe blade here, I like that it's 4 different pieces, and of course this piece at the top is really cool, though it does come in a lot of the summer 2025 sets, so it's nothing too special in that department. But with that removed, here's a full look at the minifigure. minifigure. Spectral Tyr here has the back attachment of the little dragon flyer that can be removed. If you've not seen these before, it's like these little baby dragons that attach to the back. So when they're on the minifigure, they act as the minifigure's tail and wings, but when they're removed, they can be like their own little flyer to move around. You actually only get the complete dark blue dragon flyer in 2 sets, one in the set that comes with Spectral Tyr, and another on a single Spectral Dragonian. But yeah, most other sets, the Spectral Dragonians do not have this, so it's nice to have a much cheaper way to get it in this magazine, though as I mentioned, there was a previous Spectral Dragonian magazine that also came with it, so this is not as exciting as if that magazine had never existed. Because yeah, the only difference between this minifigure and that minifigure is this white skull piece at the top, which admittedly is very cool, that only came in 2 sets previously, but I do think it's a little unfortunate to have 2 different magazine promos that are so close to each other. The Spectral Dragonians, though, generally do have a really awesome design. They're one of my favorite generic Ninjago villain designs in years. All the transparent pieces they use are amazing. I especially love the legs with the printing on top. It creates this awesome like sense of dimension to have the transparent light blue legs with the vibrant red on top, and then you have like the little printed claws at the bottom too. The transparent arms are really cool as well, because with the red hands, you can actually see where the rest of the hand connects inside the arm, giving it like this 3-dimension, almost making it look like it has arm printing when it doesn't, because that red extends inside the arm. Then the actual torso is, of course, this toothpaste blue, and we've got this Thunderfang symbol in the center, which looks awesome. And of course, the Spectral Dragonian's armor and helmet piece combined together to create one full dragon face, and that actually ties in with the face print, because if I remove that, you can see there is like a normal minifigure head underneath, but if you turn it around, it's like this energy blast with the Thunderfang symbol instead, and reattaching the helmet makes it look like it's a fireball coming out of the dragon's mouth. That's such a cool feature of these minifigures. Here's a full look of the minifigure's face print and torso piece with the armor and helmet removed. And there's a look at the back torso print and alternate face. We have the nice silver printing on the back here. And you can see that alternate face with that energy blast even better. Overall, I think this is a pretty average magazine promo. Not the least exciting, but also definitely not the most exciting in the world. Nice to get, but certainly not a must-have. But now, overall, what are my thoughts on this magazine? Honestly, I feel very similar about the entire magazine as I do the minifigure. It's fine. Comic I found somewhat uninteresting, and I don't love the implications for lore, so I'm going to consider it very non-canon, which it is. There were definitely some fun games in here, but the games definitely target a younger audience. So if you're not interested in the games, that's not much of a reason to get this. Posters were actually pretty good this time around. I liked both of them. Not like my favorites of all time, but definitely up there. And the minifigure, I mean, look, this is technically the only other way besides the set to get Spectral Tyr, and he is exclusive to a very big set. The thing is, though, Spectral Tyr is just one piece off from the regular Dragonian minifigure, and that minifigure already came in a magazine and also comes in tons of sets aside from the back attachment. So if you want more Spectral Dragonians and or you want Tyr and you don't have him yet, yeah, this is a good one to pick up. But if you're not a huge fan of Season 3 Part 2, and you don't pick up every magazine, this does feel like a pretty easy one to skip out on. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this magazine in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.